Welcome to another episode of Driveway Mechanicking. Today we're going to be doing an oil change on my Chevy Equinox. This thing's over 300,000 miles and it's due an oil change pretty quick. I mean that motor oil is black. So it's not really simple. It's really simple to do. This video is usually for people that don't know how to do it. So it's pretty simple, pretty easy to do. Let's just get to it. I'll show you how it's done. But yeah, let's get started. So now that we're up under the car, I'm going to use 2 buckets this time because my wife overfilled it probably about 1.5 quarts. And yeah, we got to get all that out. So I got my drain pan and a small little bucket. That should catch everything. Should, but we don't know. You're going to have to get you find you the right wrench to use. Not that one. 16, 14. 14 is too small, so guess what? It's going to be a 15. Alright. And most engines, let me bring you in here. Most engines, drain plug is usually on the back or on the side of the motor. But this is a front wheel drive, but they're on the back. But usually like your old models, hang on a minute. Your older models would have like an old plug on the side. You know, some vehicles do still, but I don't know which one it is. I can't really think that well. But anyways, we're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna grab my oil and everything and drain this oil, and I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, so now the oil is draining. The stuff is black, as a struck match. But when you change your oil, keep an eye on this. This is like a magnet end on these. Every one of them usually has a magnet on the end of them that'll indicate if you got metal shavings or something in your motor. So keep an eye out for that. If you do, you probably need to take it in and get it looked at, or just look at it yourself. So anyways, we're going to leave the oil plug out of it until we get ready to put oil in it, but we still got to pop the oil filter off. And all your Equinoxes usually take, we're going to use STP, and that's your number right there that you're going to use for these Equinoxes. So if you got one, great. If not, I don't know. But anyways, leave that oil plug out, let it drain for a little bit. That way you know you got everything out of the motor, everything that's bad. So we're going to go ahead and get the wrench, and we're going to go ahead and pop this oil filter off, and I'll show you what it looks like. Yeah, wait up. Okay, so when you're taking your oil filter off, it's always going to go get you one of these oil filter wrenches, or there'll be some that has a strap to it that you can use with a socket wrench. And anyways, if it's too big, you can always use like a rag, pair of shorts, something, put up under there and just put this thing on there and twist it off. I just did that. But they do sell the right stuff for it. I just don't have it on me right now. I think I let somebody borrow it and they never returned it. So anyways, I told you to put these things on by hand. You know, hand tight, you know, put a little old oil around the new filter, the oil ring, and then snug it up tight. Well, these things do tighten up over time. So keep in mind, you're going to have to change that out eventually. It's going to give you fits eventually. But y'all look at that black oil. This thing needed to be changed like a long time ago. I just haven't done it. Anyways, let's go ahead and get that thing off there, and well, I'll let y'all stick with me for a few minutes, I guess, while I get it off. This thing is dirty. The oil is hot, 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 hot. Try not to splash yourself in the face with it, so let's go ahead and get it off there. Look at that. Now this is a Fram brand, and I'm typically an STP or a Wix fan, but yeah, when you don't have that much money, just go ahead and get you a Fram. It's fine. I mean, it's just a dang oil filter. You don't add any horses or anything to your motor or extend the life at any. But anyways, we're gonna let that drip dry for a little bit also, and I'll get back with y'all shortly, or here in a second. Oh golly, be a mechanic, they said it'd be fun. All right, now that everything's back down to a little bit of a drip, we're gonna go ahead and when you go ahead and put this thing up here, you need to clean off your edge up under here. Let me just bring y'all in closer, I'll show you. Alright, so you need to clean this edge off and pay attention to it, because sometimes the oil filters will lose their gasket and it'll get stuck on here. If you put it on with the old gasket on there, you're gonna have a very bad time, like an oil leak that you can't stop. So pay attention to that when you take your oil filters off, that the gasket's still not on there. Best way to avoid that, go ahead and clean your surface and get all that old oil off of there. It'll make it a tight fit for your next oil filter. So go ahead and that's what it looks like. So I'm gonna go ahead and get the other oil filter ready and put it on. Now most people do this, but I usually do or don't. It just depends on what kind of mood I'm in and what I want to do. But you can fill these things up and avoid anything going dry. So you just put a little bit of oil in there. It'll help if you get the seal off. But let's go ahead and put a little bit of oil in there and fill the oil filter all the way up. That way we're not going to put some, yeah. See, it didn't take much to do it. Let's see. Whoop. Spilling my liquid gold, guys. Ugh. Making a mess. Now, when you get this, even if you do or don't fill that up, the oil filter, always get you some oil or some old oil and go around that seal. It'll make a tight fit when you go to put it back up there. And you only want to put these things on hand tight. You know, give it a really good, tight, hard snug. If you don't think you have that much strength, have somebody else that has mongoloid strength and have them put it on there. So let's go ahead and get this thing on now. Okay, now that that's up there in the car, we're going to go ahead and put our oil plug back in. Remember, wipe the surface off, same way there. So you got a good clean spot to put it. It's still dripping, but a little bit of oil is better than a lot. So it's not going to hurt anything having a little bit of oil dripping out of it. Alright, clean that off. Shove that back so you don't stick your arm in it. Grab your 15 millimeter. If you can hand that to me, it'd be great. Alright, and then tighten her up. Now, the oil plug, you really want to give it a good crank down. Not too tight where you're going to strip threads, but you dang sure want to tighten it down to where it's not going to leak. And that's basically all there is to it. Now it's just time to put oil in it. So let's go ahead and do that. So today's flavor, usually for your high mileage motors, you always want to put, your Dextron 5 or whatever it is, full synthetic. That goes for all high mileage cars. Like this car's got almost 300,000 miles on it, so we're going to go full synthetic blend, high mileage full synthetic. What it does is it lubes the piston walls up. That way, if you run out of oil, you still got an extra few more miles to go before your engine locks up. At least that's how it was explained to me. So, just find your oil deal, your oil cap. It'll have this on there if you don't know what your oil cap looks like. The only thing that goes in this, up under this cap, is oil. That's it. Nothing else. I've seen people put water and all kinds of crap in there, blooper videos on mechanics. It destroys stuff if you put anything else in there. Now, you can put a quart of Lucas in it. Well, I don't have done, or I would put it in there, but yeah, done with that. Okay, so now after you get all your oil put in, what you want to do is go ahead and wipe up all your mess that you made, and then check your oil. Make sure it's all the way up to the lines right there. So if you see them dotted lines, it's in the good. Actually, it's a little bit past, but that's usually normal. What you're going to do after this is put your oil cap back on, your dipstick back in, let it run for about a few more minutes, and then stop, wait, turn the car, kill the car, let it sit for a few minutes, and then check your oil again and see if you need to add or anything else. That oil will go down because you got to think, you drained all that out. It's got to go through the motor. We just put 5 quarts of motor oil in here, and mainly most vehicles, sometimes, I know Chevrolets take 5 to 6 quarts of oil from the V6s to the V8s. Maybe 7 on the V8s. I could be wrong. If it is, correct me. Let me know later. But anyways, we're going to go ahead and start this car up. Let it run for a few minutes. Let it sit after I kill it. And then we'll check the oil again and see what it looks like. Alright, so now we already let the car sit for a few minutes. We're fixing to check the oil, see what it looks like. Now, you ain't going to get an accurate reading the first time you pull it out. Just make sure you clean it off, stick it in there, and see what it looks like. We all leaving? Okay. If you look closely, there's where the oil is. So we're dead on, basically. It might be a little full, but hey, your car's that old, it ain't going to hurt it. So let's go ahead and wrap this video up. Let's go ahead and wrap this video up, and I'll get back with y'all next time. If you like what you see, please like, share, subscribe. It costs you nothing, and it really, really would help me out. So, anyways, catch y'all on the next video.